Welcome to Fire for Effect Live, 12 January 2022. My name is Chris. It's gonna be an interesting night. We have a special guest on. We're gonna talk about some social problems. We're also gonna talk about some shit that's happening in the Ukraine. But before we get into that, I want to thank the man that made it all special for this to be able to make this thing happen. Fire for Effect Live is brought to you by DeanBlendell.com. Go to DeanBlendell.com, the Dean Blendell network of podcasts, where you can find all you ever need to know about sports, news, and podcasts. There's like 80 some podcasts on there now. I can't even track it. But go to DeanBlendell.com and check it out. Also brought to you by my man, Positive Mike's Brewing Company. Positive Mike's makes the gear and the beer. You can get the gear, but you cannot get the beer. I have the beer. I've actually had a couple of those beers tonight. It's been a busy day. Check out Positive Mike's Brewing Company. You get them on all your social media platforms. Also brought to you by Mr. Hooper Inc. Mr. Hooper, my main man Bryce, he can provide you with advice, guidance, expertise on alternative medicines, including the use of cannabis and other alternatives to conventional medicine. And lastly, my good folks at Jeff Nonay Farms, Lakeside Farmstead, where you can get the Nonay beef and a very amazing dairy products. If you need fresh cream, if you need butter, if you need amazing cheese, Jeff Nonay has all these things out at Lakeside Farmstead, so please check them out. So without further ado, let's bring in the crazy crew. Got your mic working yet?
Oh yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, yo.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, you got the big screen for once too, my man.
Yeah, I'm still fucking with it.
Nice.
Look at you, Bryce. It's Between Two Ferns with Mr. Hooper.
Yeah, live at Mr. Hooper Studios in Mornville as well.
Yeah, dude, you are changing your shit up every week. I love it.
Yeah, actually, I've had a couple of people reach out and tell me how they like that I've changed up the backgrounds. And
no, I hate it. I like consistency every week.
Yeah.
Same thing,
Morgan,
day in, day out.
Let me turn off that stupid thing. Everybody knows what show they're watching here. Give me a second. Sorry, boys, I'm half fucking loaded because I finally tested negative again today.
Hey, I saw that earlier.
Mike. Yes, Mike, I do look a little rough. You're not.
So you had the vid for a couple days, eh?
I had. Listen, okay, so in 5 days, last Friday I tested negative, and then a good friend of mine who's vertically challenged, who's also dyslexic and an alcoholic, tested positive.
God damn it, Jimmy.
We're not naming names, but his name might rhyme with Jimmy. So Sunday, Dave came over. He had a test kit that he scammed from up north, and I tested positive. Okay. And don't get me wrong, I knew I was feeling fucking shitty. Like, I knew I was fucked, right? And yesterday I felt good to go. Today I felt good to go. So Dave came back and I tested negative again today. So in fucking 5 days, I went from negative to positive to negative. So that's where we sit. That's where we sit right now. And yeah, now that I've said that, what else is going on? So let's talk about the Ukraine.
Yeah.
What did you hear today? They had a fucking... We're going to come back to this because I'm going to bring our guest in early. We have an awesome guest today. NATO leaders, whoever they are, sat down with Russia to talk about the whole fucking situation in the Ukraine. And what blows my mind is they directly asked Russia, "Are you going to invade the Ukraine?" And Russia went, "Nope." Well, what the fuck? What did you expect them to say? Oh yeah, we only have 100,000 troops on the fucking border. You know, it's just a show of force, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're gonna bullshit you with the best of because you're in a political atmosphere, and that kind of language just seems to be floating everywhere.
Oh, it's a fucking joke, man. But we'll get into that later on. Like there's more to that. What's Mike have to say? I'm trying to. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's the furthest from my fucking mind right now. I'm gonna bring our guest in quicker than normal. As everybody knows, if I haven't alluded to it, I really have, and this fucking podcast is not a social platform for leftist ideas and all this other fucking shit, but I have a hard time with the fact that there's between 2,500 and 5,000 homeless veterans on the street at any given time. So there's an organization I want to do a documentary on, which I'll talk about later on, not right now. We're not stealing any thunder. But there's an organization, Bryce, that you're working with, and I'll let you kind of segue this in. That and don't steal our next guest's thunder, but talk about very briefly before I bring this lovely young lady in and let her spit some truth here. It feels like my conversations were it's new and it's fresh and it's filling a void. So please amplify that conversation.
Yeah, so I found the organization just because I was looking for a second or a third thing to do. I had just recently stepped away from a cannabis clinic, and I was trying to keep my hands busy with something else. And we all have that. We all have that one veteran connection that has disappeared, that has just gone on the wayside, and nobody's really checked up on them. And I've got one of those friends that I went through rehab with in 2013, and his face started to show up when I was downtown, or his name would come across a dream or something like that. And I just for whatever reason knew that I had to start looking for him, and when I did, I reached out to an organization that had literally started a couple months beforehand, and they just started handing out water because the necessity was there, and it's kind of grown into a much larger project now.
Well, let's not fuck around here and bring her in, because it's an amazing story, and I have bits and pieces of it. So I want to welcome to the show Rebecca Reid. There she is.
Hello.
Hang on, let me get this right. There we go. Rebecca, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
I can't. Everything I know about water warriors. Hang on, I'm supposed to show an image right now. I'm failing. I am failing. There we go. No, that's so. Actually, that's where Morgan's broadcasting from right now. Anyway, so water warriors, YAG, is there like? I'm going to hand the floor to you to explain to everybody what this is, where it came from. What I do know is that you founded the organization or a co-founder, what have you. You can explain it. And you did it during the pandemic while the rest of the fucking world was hiding under a pile of coats. You stepped up to help make sure that the homeless people were taken care of.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we were founded in the summer of 2020. Originally, there was 4 founding members. There's 2 of us left. Basically, when the pandemic hit, the city of Edmonton really didn't consider how their decisions were going to affect the unhoused folks. So they had basically shut off access to public water fountains, toilets, that kind of thing. Unhoused folks aren't going to have access to getting masks, you know, to be able to go into public places, to be able to use washrooms, to be able to get anywhere where there is water for them. And it was a really, really hot summer. So basically the four of us started pooling together. Like, we were just, at the beginning, we were begging for money from our friends and family, using a borrowed wagon to go out. It started out with the four of us. Claire and myself have been doing street outreach for a number of years on our own, and we just thought it would be easier to collaborate with one another together, you know, to coordinate what we have and go out on the streets. It's not real safe for ladies to go out by themselves, so you know, the more the merrier kind of idea. And we were only expecting it to do this for a couple of months, you know, just to sort of get everybody through that really, really hot part. And it started exploding into literally pickup trucks full of water that we were delivering out on the streets. And then, you know, we added little snacks in there, and then we added, you know, clothing, because we noticed people were going without things like shoes. So the little project that was only supposed to be a couple months long is still going. And we're generally between 30 and 40 volunteers hitting the streets a couple of times a week. We're helping, you know, about 300 people every week as well, depending on what the temperature is. It's something that we probably shouldn't need to be doing, you know, but we see the need out there. And, you know, we really can't be letting these folks go without. You end up getting to know people. So we've got, it's not just water anymore. We have the water, the food, the clothing, and we've added on a harm reduction team as well. So we're able to make sure that there's clean supplies for folks who are users out on the streets. So we're also having a poisoning response team that's going to be starting to go out soon, that we just added on, because the opioid poisoning epidemic is a big thing right now as well. So because the government isn't providing folks with these things that they need, it's grassroots organizations like us, like Bear Clan, that are sort of picking up the pieces and trying to make sure that these folks aren't dying.
Okay, so I want to rewind a little bit. Let's get back prior to summer 2020. What drove you? What's your background? What drove you to do this? What did you say? Because your average fucking Edmontonian in this particular case is just sitting around at the beginning of a pandemic, worrying about their own shit. And you and four others, now down to two, if I'm not mistaken, decided we need to go do this. So walk everybody through that's watching this right now. How did you just to say we're gonna go do this? Like, how did you get there?
Quite honestly, I grew up in small town. I was born in BC, and after that sort of grew up in Hinton, Alberta. So, you know, 10,000 people there. And when you grow up, especially back then, I'm a little older than I probably look. You know, we didn't have to lock doors to anything. You know, kids are fine playing out on the streets and all that kind of stuff. And quite honestly, we didn't have anybody that went without in the town, because everybody helped everybody, right? So when I moved to the city, when I was in my early 20s, I sort of expected it to be the same thing, just in a bigger place, right? So the friends that were nice enough to take me in when I first moved here to Edmonton, One night I can remember putting on my coat to go out for a walk, because I often did that. I just put on my headphones and go out for a walk at nighttime because I just needed to stretch my legs, right? And she sort of looked at me. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm going for a walk." She says, "No, you are not. This is the city. You can't go outside by yourself at nighttime." I'm like, "Oh, oh, okay," and felt really stupid. And just going downtown to do errands and stuff like that, and having folks approach you asking for money, and I did have a couple of them that were really aggressive, because I'm not somebody who usually carries cash on me. I've never been that person. So when you tell them no, sometimes they can get real upset. So it was a little bit of a scary experience for me initially, but then I sort of stood back and I'm like, you know what? I'm not rich either. I'm not one of these people that has a lot to give. I'm like one paycheck away from being there myself. But I'd sure like to see if I can help out these folks, and found a couple of grassroots organizations that were just taking tables and setting up in front of Hope Mission and serving out food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To just sort of get used to, what do you do? How do you help these folks, right? And did that for a few years. I've never been brave enough to really go out on my own. I've usually had somebody with me. Claire, the other founder, she's got a little bit more balls than I do. She needs to go out by herself all the time.
But you also have a day job, right? Like this is not
Yeah,
your only thing, right? So
yeah,
you're doing your day job, and so everybody that's watching or listening to this later, what Rebecca's doing is outside of her normal day-to-day life. Do you have a family?
I have a husband and a dog. No kids.
That's good enough. So,
Yeah.
right? Like you have a day-to-day routine, which for most of us is enough. Yet you felt compelled to go do this to help people where no one's helping them, especially during a pandemic, because fucking the whole world turned inward. And who is left out of battle is sorry, it's an army term. Is all these homeless people where no one's taking care of them, and you amped this up and went and did it. Like I can't fucking tell you how much balls, which you don't have, but you know what I mean. Like it takes to go and do that, and like so you started doing this, and you attracted a following clearly because you got fucking Bryce, who's a dope smoking hippie guru.
Yeah.
So like walk tell me how did you start attracting people to support this cause? What support are you getting from the city of Edmonton, or the or the Alberta government, or Hope Mission, or Business Center? Like what are you getting out of that?
Oh boy. Support is not there. It just isn't.
That's not
So,
surprising to me. So it's okay. You can say what you want here.
my background is a social media influencer as well. So before I threw myself into this project, I was and still am sort of doing Yeg Foodie. So I'm a certified Kansas City Barbecue Society judge, and was
Wait a
often
minute. Let's just pause for a second. You're a what?
Kansas City Barbecue Society certified barbecue judge.
Oh fuck you! We're gonna have a sidebar conversation about cooking after this. But anyway, keep
Oh
going.
yeah, I know the best barbecue. So I had that social media following, which was very important actually, to be able to launch Water Warriors. So I have the background in social media enough to know how to make the website and the Facebook page and the Instagram, the Twitter, and all that kind of stuff, and had experience before where I knew sometimes if you put the call out and you word it just the right way, and you put a pretty picture in there, you'll get some action sort of idea. So in the initial launching of this, a lot of folks were pretty generous, you know, because once you explain, hey, these folks don't have any access to any of the public fountains or anything like that, folks were pretty generous. So currently, we are funded completely privately, you know, like we have a corporate sponsor here and there, which is super awesome. And we always make sure that we recognize those folks. Bryce and the Veterans Association Food Bank have been absolutely wonderful. So when they have too much, it also comes to us. Bissell has been great at supporting us. They provide us with their staff parking lot after hours, and they put out water for us as well until they run out. But as far as the city of Edmonton and the government, no. The shelters have been not supportive either. The shelters are full of all kinds of barriers to try and get these folks any sort of help. You know, so occasionally when we bring somebody there, they're good about bringing them in.
Yeah.
But lots of these folks have bans because all of the shelters in this city are religiously run. Okay. So if you don't pray to the right person, you're not going to get
fuck. Careful. I'll
Yeah.
start going off.
That's a whole other show.
And you know, because they're religious based organizations, again, they don't support the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah.
They're terrible with my brothers and sisters that are Indigenous. And over half of the people that are on the street identify as Indigenous. I think it's 63%.
At least that.
You know, and then there's your veterans that are on the street as well. Like, I cannot believe that people that have served their country faithfully are living like they are. Like, that's not right, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's no different than you were one paycheck away from the one mistake, and then we're sleeping under a bridge or near the river valley or trying to get into a shelter of some kind. One bill adds into the next one. So
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean, it feels to me like, and again, this isn't a soapbox fucking thing where I'm picking a side. I just say what I think on this show, and that's why I have it. But it feels to me like the city of Edmonton in particular, which is probably not that much different than any other city, is more interested in spending millions of dollars on beautification projects and relocating the homeless population than it is at solving the problem. And if I'm fucking off or wrong, somebody tell me.
Now, Chris, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Like, I mean, it's not just municipal governments; it's provincial governments. It's the federal government. Like Absolutely. We said in last week, the federal government is what we're currently in federal debt, like $9 trillion, and nobody even knows where the money went. So, like, here. So what you're saying is that that governments of all levels don't care about people, and they spend money recklessly, and nobody knows where any of the money goes. But we all know it just doesn't go to the right places. Like, I don't know. Seems about par for the course, unfortunately.
Yeah. And it's true, like what Rob Sipes says in the comments too, that nobody really wants to live in a shelter at the same time, because those shelters turn into nobody feels safe. It might work for 1 or 2 days, but at the end of the day, does somebody really want to have to put their head down and listen to somebody preach about the specific God that is funding? That, you know, it's one of those. It makes no sense.
No, and not to fucking go off, but when the city is spending fucking retarded, you probably can't say that word, retarded amounts of money on a fucking funicular and a gondola and a pile of steel balls on the side of the white mud that cost 600 fucking grand. Yet you walk the streets, you go down into the inner city, and I drive those streets, you know, and see the camps, see the tents, see the tarps, see the shopping carts, see the people, and they're fucking largely ignored. And knowing
Yeah.
people that work in that environment and trying to make it better for those people, and knowing that there's veterans, I'll bet you 1 in 50 probably served in the military at some point. I'm not trying to turn it into that, but I will do that in another show. That fucking bothers me. That bothers me, and here's why: because it tells me that how can I expect my government to take care of its veterans when it just can't even take care of fucking people?
100%.
Right?
Well,
Because the
100%.
government,
Yeah.
listen, just give me a minute here. The government will assume, like, the government will assume that, oh, military guys have a good career path. They're all going to get pensioned off. They're good to go. So they'll ignore military guys. And then, and you know, fucking,
Yeah.
if that's
real
their
life doesn't
mindset,
happen to the rest of us too, though. We're
right?
one
The
paycheck
rest of the
away from
world's
child
out there,
support or
you
another
know.
bill that comes
I know,
up.
man.
Or
So the fucking government doesn't even wrap its head around what it assumes is taken care of, because it's not taken care of. It's most certainly ignored the Indigenous population of Canada, which makes up, to Rebecca's point, the bulk of the people that are on the street. It's certainly fucked
ignored,
off
or
everybody
they
else.
actually created that whole situation.
100%, man. And all I see, I've lived in Edmonton since, I want to say, 85. So that's more than most people watching fucking have been born. So I'm an Edmontonian, and I've seen everything in this city come and go. But what doesn't change is what we're talking about right now, is the fact that these people are fucking relocated or pushed aside to make way for
By city enforcement officers.
for a fucking, hang on,
Oh, dude.
a political agenda to say that the current regime is moving the chains forward, which they're not. You're simply relocating a problem. And what they've done now is funneled, okay, go down 97th Street, down by Canada Place, to the east of Canada Place, you know, was a rough part of town.
Yeah.
They're going through this beautification, rejuvenation, whatever the fuck you want to call it, project.
Yeah.
And the optics make it look favorable. So your average middle class white picket fence, fucking white guy with one Beamer in the driveway and a huge mortgage goes, oh, that's great. But the reality is, the people that used to live there, the homeless people, you know, that were grinding day to day, have fucking been pushed into the river valley.
Yeah, or just 2 blocks up. That's the whole area that we start our evenings in. That whole area that is going through the rebeautification area is literally where a block and a half away from where the Water Warriors now start their walks on Thursday evenings. It's absolutely embarrassing. All they did was push the unhoused half a block the other way and have created more issues for the Bissell, for the mustard seed, for the Hope. And like Positive Mike was saying, that he didn't realize that they were all religiously affiliated. Most of them are driven that way. And the staff have to be affiliated to an extent to be able to work there. They also come after hours and preach to the unhoused about their certain God's beliefs too. So even if you're not in the shelter and you're trying to get into the shelter, the Water Warriors have witnessed it. I've witnessed it with my own eyes, where they've actually been harassed on the outside by a staff member who actually works on the inside of the shelter, but was there advocating for God. It makes zero sense.
Rebecca, your thoughts. Now that we went on our fucking rant, which we do from
Yeah.
time to time, we just fuck off on a fucking tangent and spit. But
Kate
tell
in that effing arena. Every night that there is a hockey game, they send out the park rangers. The park rangers are the people in Edmonton that are supposed to be responsible for relocating the folks in tents. And that's not 100% the case all the time. They're supposed to be accompanied by peace officers, and if there's issues, the Edmonton Police Service gets called out as well. These people are going and slashing these folks' tents. And basically, they have a few minutes to pack whatever they can carry into a bag, and away they go. And then the city comes behind them and throws out every single thing that they own into the trash.
Yeah. And
Just
this
so
has
that
been
that are-
documented. Absolutely. Yeah.
just so that the folks that are attending that hockey game can step over top of us while we're trying to reverse an overdose so that they can get to their game.
So the optics can look good for somebody pulling up in a Suburban when the tents are all burnt down and scraped across with bobcats 45 minutes before somebody pulls up for the Ice District hockey. But in reality, all they're doing is pushing the people 2 blocks one way or a half a block the other way, and then taking all of their belongings when it's minus 20 outside.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris. Just I got a little bit of an opinion.
well, I'm sure you fucking do, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I usually don't talk that much, but so like I said, we talk. You know, we spend a lot of money, or the city spends a lot of money on beautification and things like that. And you know, we like to you know, we'll shit on the politicians. I'm actually going to quasi stick up for the politicians a little bit, I guess, even though I still don't like them. You know, it's a classic case of, you know, we're going to sit here, we're going to point fingers at these politicians, but a lot of these politicians, especially you know, lower level municipal, they do what the people of Edmonton ask them to do, or at least the majority does. Like, when's the last time? Like, I'll speak for myself, because I'm pretty good at this. If I have a problem, whether it's municipal, federal, or provincial, I'll call my member of parliament, or I'll send him an email and be like, "Listen, you son of a bitch, this is what's up." You know, and I, you know, they work for me the way I see it, right? Never once have I ever sent an email, you know, to, you know, my my city councillor to say, like, you know, the treatment of these people or the things that are going on. Granted, I'm not as aware of it as Bryce is, but you know, how many people have actually brought that up to the politicians? Because I bet you every single one of those politicians are saying we need like more snow clearing and beautify this and do everything. And it's a classic case of the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And every single email that's in these politicians' inboxes is get these scumbags off of the street, or, you know, beautify this or repave that or clear out the snow. So they are doing exactly what the people of Edmonton want them to do, unfortunately. And it's a super shitty thing to say. It's like, you know, before, you know, as you're pointing fingers, as you're pointing fingers at other people, you know, just remember, you know, you got those other 3 fingers pointed back at yourselves. So I mean, we can sit here on our soapbox, but realistically, each and every one of us will. Okay, well, you know, well, I'll blame myself for sure. We're because we sit back and we do nothing. We are part of the problem. I mean, maybe you know, Bryce to a lesser extent, but myself, yeah, I'm definitely part of the problem because I haven't done anything like that.
Well, I guarantee you, dude, that the politicians' offices know, because we've actually had sitting politicians, including the mayor's office.
Yes, they
come out.
Oh,
so.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying they don't know, but I'm saying, do they know as much as, you know? Do they get as much backlash or as much pressure about this versus, say, you know, we need a new fucking gondola or a streetcar here or some fancy painting or you know, like lights on trees, whatever. I guarantee you, they're getting more emails about, you know, let's put lights on trees, or like, you know, that I mean, Rogers Place is a perfect example. You know, the people. I mean, I'm not a hockey person. I don't really watch hockey. I don't really give a shit. But you know, that didn't just magically appear. There's a lot of pressure, and a lot of people, you know, wanted that shit, right? So, I mean, so people in general are pretty vain, unfortunately, and that's kind of where we're at. The only other thing I'm going to say too is like the faith-based organizations. We just heard everybody say, we don't get any support from the the city or the province or the federal government or anything like that. And it is, this is a great time. Everybody loves shitting on the church. I'm not particularly religious. I mean, I'm from Newfoundland, so I mean, I was baptized in the church and all that good shit. But I mean, I'm as religious as the next person, I guess. It's easy to shit on them, and it's actually like quite in vogue right now to make fun of the Catholics and make fun of Christians in particular, more so than any other faith. But I mean, you should probably give these people a little bit of respect, because they actually have shelters. Who the fuck else has shelters? I don't see anybody else opening up goddamn shelters.
No, but all it is. No, I get it, dude. Yeah, no,
right.
Absolutely, I get it. It's just one of those where they've gone after the grants, and they're the only ones who have the connections into the government who can then give them the money, and they're allocating that money to useless manners. Whether
fair enough.
They could be allocating those services a lot better. Instead of the services that they do provide, that's for sure. But no, I totally hear your side as well, dude. They are the only ones doing things right now.
Yeah,
let's
something's better than nothing.
I want to get really fucking sensitive here, and Rebecca, you're gonna have to answer this. And yeah, I'm a short-haired fucking redneck white guy, so help me out with this. It's a legitimate question, because I think most of the population, to allude to what Morgan said, is more than happy to fucking dance in the world of a problem that was created by that they created. It's like, oh, well, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if you can agree with me that the majority of the people on the street are Indigenous Canadians, is that correct? Do you agree with that?
Correct. Yeah.
Tell me, do you think? Fuck, we're on thin ice here. Do you think that the Indigenous population is doing enough to address this issue? And here's why I asked the question. It feels like I was down in Calgary last weekend, and I went to the Grey Eagle Casino and had a great time.
Hey, Chris,
well managed. They're making lots of money.
Yeah.
Do you feel, because I don't count on these fucking assholes in Edmonton to handle it. Do you think that the Indigenous population of Canada, your Aboriginal people, are doing enough? And you can shit over me if you want.
Hey, Chris, can I jump in for a minute there, guys? Chris, I think
you're from Newfoundland. You can't jump in.
I can't. I'm going to. I think your question's a little bit oversimplified, because I don't think like the Indigenous.
It might be. Canada, it might be.
Well, the Indigenous population of Canada, and
hang on, Rebecca.
I'm not Indigenous, but we're looking at them like they're monolithic, like they're one group of people. And I'm sure there are some groups of Indigenous that are totally right the fuck out of her, and there's other ones, and we see them like when you go down to River Cree, man. I don't know, man. Those people got their shit together, like. So,
yes, they do.
And then, but then you can go to another. But then if you go like to some other reserves, you're kind of like, this is third world, right? So
yeah, you go to Enoch, and it's not quite the same.
No, exactly, right. So I think like some are busting their ass and they're trying to make everything better for the future, and there's others that are just doing fucking nothing. And we see that like as a veteran, we see some veterans organizations that are fabulous and some that are shit, and some veterans that are they're like, what, they're going to accept their lot in life and they're going to do what they can to make their situation better. And there's others are going to sit around, they're going to boo-hoo, and they're going to be like, the world owes me shit.
And I don't disagree. I really want to know what Rebecca thinks.
Okay. So my situation personally, even, I went through a lot of childhood trauma myself, and I had no idea. Like, I knew I was Indigenous, but I didn't know what tribe or anything I belonged to, because my family chose to not talk about that kind of thing, right? So it's only been very recently that I found out what band I belong to. And that was something that was very important to me to find out. Our people have suffered so much trauma from these residential schools, you know, it's
Yep.
generational trauma. So, you know, our parents in this generation have done the best they can because there's been so many generations before them that didn't know how to parent, you know, and a lot of us weren't raised traditionally. We've lost our language. We don't know our language any longer. We don't know about things like sweat lodges and healing ceremonies and that kind of stuff, right? Like, I'm very fortunate that I've had people brought into my life that are able to teach me these things. And like Sean Ellis was saying here on the chat too, it depends on the band. Like, a lot of it depends on the band, because you always have the band council, and the band council are the people that are responsible for making sure that the money goes into the right place. And I mean, Indigenous people are just like anybody else, you know. If there's lots of money there, sometimes that's not going to go to the right places. So, you know, we aren't doing enough for our people because we've got so much healing
And
work that we need to get
and
done.
I didn't mean that wasn't meant as a trap question.
No,
It's
no.
just like, but it's always there, you know. Actually, fuck, that's a bad fucking question. I digress. It to me, it's a collective problem where we all need to come together, and I think that's what we're trying to do. And you talk about residential schools and finally this fucking weak attempt at reconciliation, which I consider it to be. And the bulk of you know, and I'm from Saskatchewan and grew up in Alberta, so obviously I was fucking bred with these views of our native population till I got to know native people and the shit they've been through.
Mhm.
And you know, when I meet a homeless person on the street, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like fucking 3 out of 5 are probably native. And it's like, you know what? We all decide our own fate. I agree with that. But you're also a product of the system you came up in. You're a product of the environment you grew up in. And I won't lie, like my father created a good life for me, and I had a good life, and chose my own path. Some people never had that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, dude. Yeah. If you
Right?
could you imagine being in an environment where
Fucking
either
exactly.
one parent wasn't there and the other parent was so violent that they didn't understand what they were doing to that child regardless? You don't have a chance at
100%.
that point. At that point, you'd
100%.
rather be outside somewhere by yourself than inside that house. And
Yeah.
that goes for any household with a child at that point. But I mean, could you only imagine with like Rebecca was saying, with the generational stuff, where that parent was raised in an environment where one or both parents were taken, maybe A, by the RCMP on a scoop, or two, by a church saying that they were only going to make them better. And then once they survived that X amount of life, they decided that they could have a family and brought somebody else into this world and then only did the best that they could.
Well, you know what? And you named
Like
and
that'd be like trying to hold somebody accountable when we were in Croatia and Bosnia.
yeah.
And one of those people who they just survived 10 generations of complete chaos where people were killed off because of a belief system. That happened in the same country that we left to go and protect. They were doing the same things to the Aboriginals when we were gone protecting in the 90s.
And Bryce, you nailed it. I mean, you think about like we the fucking three of us were on a podcast, I want to say in November, talking about the first time we understood and recognized Aboriginal Veterans Day, which is 8 November. And I didn't even fucking know about that, because to me it's like, why does there need to be a separate day? Well, I don't know. It's pretty fucking easy if you're excluded.
Yeah,
create
you
your
weren't
own
allowed
day.
your own medals. You couldn't get
Right?
benefits because you were brown
We're
instead
talking
of
about
white.
Tommy
Like,
Prince, who Tommy Prince will be the intro to this doc I want to do on homeless vets.
absolutely.
You talk. I don't want to focus on. I don't want to steer the conversation into this where it's the shit that's happened. That's another conversation about the injustices to the Aboriginal people of this country. Although it is a conversation, I'm talking about. I want to stay on track with what the whole goal and focus of what Water Warriors is and what Rebecca is doing with you, with Bryce. You're part of it, and focus on, it's not race, gender, sexual orientation specific. It's about people that have been fucking left behind or made bad decisions in life. And let's have a conversation about, Rebecca, what do you see as the path forward? So this is a new thing for you, right? And again, to have the fortitude to create this organization, to drive it forward in the fucking beginning of a pandemic, when everybody else decided, I'm going to go hide under a pile of coats and it's me, and fuck the world. Me first. How much shit paper can I possibly buy? And you went the other way. You said, no, we need to go take care of these people. So first of all, kudos for doing that. And anybody that argues that can go fuck right off. That is you're one of the most bravest people I've ever met.
Thank you
for doing that. I have no words. So,
but that's part of my culture too, right?
Yeah, let's talk about, where do you want this to go?
You know what? We have the religious-based shelters in Edmonton, and like you said, there isn't any non-religious based shelter, basically. Bissell is doing overnight during the extreme temperatures, but they're basically the only ones that aren't faith-based. And so all of these shelters in this city have so many barriers to be able to access any services. So we're in the baby steps right now of partnering with another charity, because getting your federal registration is pretty difficult. A lot of hours and a lot of money. So they're going to help us out by partnering with us. And they have this amazing facility just inside of Wetaskiwin, where they have a barrier-free food bank. So I don't know if you've ever had to access a food bank before, but it's a pretty embarrassing process. You have to present your Alberta healthcare number and your ID, and they only give you enough food for maybe a week, and you're only allowed to access once a month. You don't get any choice about what you're given. You're just handed a box of stuff, and basically you make do, right? So they've got this beautiful food bank where you go in and it's like a shopping, like a grocery store. You take a shopping cart and you can go and pick out whatever you want. He's got the same thing set up for clothing. They have a hydroponic greenhouse set up where they're growing fresh greens and stuff like that. He's got a fish farm. So the water from the fish farm goes in and waters all the plants in the greenhouse, and then it's recycled through all the rocks and stuff from the plants to clean it all up, and then it goes back in the fish tank again. It's the coolest thing ever.
It's the same tilapia setup that Tanner Stewart has in New Brunswick.
We just had a guy on like last fucking week, man. He's doing the same thing.
He's growing cannabis instead in New Brunswick.
He's making meat out of fish shit. It's amazing.
Mike,
so they're growing vegetables.
Yeah, Mike, it's called Rock Soup Greenhouse, and it's just inside Wetaskiwin, so it's about a 45-minute drive from Edmonton. So, we need that barrier-free shelter. We need housing. We need housing, like temporary housing, so these folks can transition where they need to go. Yeah. And the issue right now with COVID is a lot of these places, the folks are actually dying of drug poisonings because there's not enough staff to check in on people. So these hotels that folks are the transitional housing that these folks are going into, it's non-religious based, which is better for them, right? But they're not getting checked in on and they're dying.
Right.
The shelter standards for the religious shelters here in Edmonton are abhorrent. They're terrible. like it's a mat on the floor, and they're not even spaced far enough away from COVID. You're not allowed to take your belongings inside. You're not allowed to take pets inside. Couples aren't allowed to stay together. If you're trans in any way, they sort of assign what gender they think you should be, and that's the section of the shelter that you have to go to. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. So you know, I've seen a really great thing in Texas where they sort of they started a tiny home village, and then the folks that are living in there, when they finally get back on their feet, they pay back by volunteering hours to help other folks. You
So
know,
that leads me to my question. We can talk about the problem forever. We can, and I'm not trying to be a fucking asshole. But as a military guy, and my two compadres here can speak to it. I am a solutions driven person, and you can be as fantasia as you want or as realistic as you want to be. If you are looking at what you should be running the organization that you are, like path forward, what are the three things? Just name me three things. There you go. You would like to see as fast in the next, say, 1 year. What would you like? And it can be as realistic or as unrealistic as you want, because if you don't dream big, you'll never succeed big.
mm-hmm.
So what would you like to see in the next year? You can pick up to three things, or just tell me something.
Barrier-free shelter.
Yeah, Water Warriors owned barrier-free shelter.
Yep.
Okay. So what would that involve? Let's talk about that.
Well, a building, right?
So you need space. Okay.
Yeah. And you'd need qualified staff to be able to keep an eye on that space as well.
Okay.
And it would have to be a staffing system where there was not going to be as much burnout, because I've talked to a lot of folks that work in shelters, and that's a big, huge issue.
Sure, it would be, yeah.
And it's also 24-hour care that you're talking about. It's
Yep.
not just day and nighttime too. Or not just nighttime when they're sleeping or they're supposed to be sleeping. Any of the unhoused, before they get into shelter, they're surviving on the streets. They're not just living comfortably. They don't just put their jacket on and go outside and go for a walk like the rest of us can right now. They're the ones who have 6, 7, 19 layers, and they're just trying to survive. So that way at 5 o'clock or at 7 o'clock, when these shelters actually open their doors, they might be able to get one of 15 spaces. Okay. How many spaces would you aim for, Rebecca?
Oh, good Lord.
Realistic.
Last homeless count, realistically, it's 3,000 people.
Yeah.
Operationally,
though, in an area that you'd want to attack, if this is something that you don't have to solve the whole thing overnight. However, you can set the example and the standard for the province to do. Mm-hmm. So let's say
you get 300 beds. I mean, hang on, and not to be a fucking I'm going to shit on the city of Edmonton. So we have how many beds are in the former remand center that sits on empty?
Yeah. The only problem with that, though,
the one they keep on telling us they won't go into because it has asbestos.
Oh, fuck, everything has asbestos. Trust me, I have guys can remediate that thing in a minute.
I know.
Right? Yeah, so there's options out there. But anyway, so I don't want to go off on that tangent. So 3,000 beds, that's fine. But you're not going to get that in one shot. So anyways, we could talk about goals another day because we're limited for time.
300 to 500, yeah.
So one is the barrier-free accommodations. What else would you look for?
You know what? I'd love to replicate what Edson is doing right now with their pod system.
So explain that to everybody who's listening.
Okay. So they have, I'm not sure if it was shipping containers or like the oil field trailers, one of those. So they've converted them into single spaces. So everybody has their own space, their own bed, their own bathroom, right?
Okay.
And all they have to do is enter a code into the door to get inside. They can take all of their belongings with them in. They can lock the door. They're warm. They can have a sleep, right? So a pod system like that with a central like kitchen location so everybody can go and eat when they need to, that would be perfect, right? And even more perfect, it was made out of something like hempcrete, right?
Yeah, something innovative. Absolutely. Yeah, it's
Okay.
fireproof and it's
So
harm reduction safe.
let me ask this. We've covered the fact that we want barrier-free accommodations. We want this system. This is not, and correct me if I'm wrong, a problem solver. At the end of the day, you need to be able to reintroduce these people that have not had fucking life deal in the best hand back into society, for lack of a better phrase. Somebody help me out here. Like,
That's where your social workers come in. You'd need a
right. Like what do you see as a path forward for? So again, I'm being selfish because I'm using this as a I guess a research project, and I know that Homes for Heroes is a cyclical process to bring them in, sort them the fuck out, and reintegrate them into society. So at some point, all of this has to lead back into reintegration to society.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, tell me I'm not. I get it. Some people are so far gone they might not get there, but that should be a goal, right?
Yeah, we've actually seen evidence of that happening. Like,
okay.
Part of the problem of the situation with housing right now is they support that person for only 3 months. And then at the end of that 3 months, that person is expected to be able to pay the rent on their own. Not going to happen. So these folks end up losing their housing and having to start all over again. These folks need support for up to a year.
And mental health built in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They don't get access to that. They get a little bit of talk therapy with a social worker or somebody who's hanging around, but after that they get dropped.
Yeah. So they need supports for quite a lot longer than what we're providing for them. And so basically we're throwing money at the problem and not making any progress, because we've talked to folks that are chronically homeless. So they've been housed many times and they've never been successful.
So
I've homed somebody myself on my own without any government support. Got him into an apartment, got him everything furnished, bought him groceries and the whole bit. But I'm not a social worker, right? I don't have that background. I don't have that training. I didn't realize that when you take that person out of that street family and then put them by themselves, you're just doing harm. Now he has nobody. He feels lonely, right?
Now there's no family. Yeah.
So let's have that conversation. This is the fuck, man. I thought I was running an army show, but I love this. It's really good stuff. No. I'm serious. It's my show. I can make it wherever the fuck I want. We've covered the fact that and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm speaking in ignorant terms here. What Water Warriors currently does, you go out in cold weather. So for those of you watching or listening tomorrow, this fine group of volunteers who have lives beyond this have been going out in the coldest fucking weather that Edmonton's experienced in a long time.
And the hottest.
Last summer. Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah.
To I guess resupply.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. It's a small party tasking. The way that I relate it to anybody who is military that wants to come out and volunteer for even the security aspect of it. And when I say security, it's more like a Bosnia tour in the early 2000s, where your presence alone is all that's needed. And sometimes just you listen.
Yeah.
So my question is, in the interest of moving the chains, you can do that forever. You can go out every Thursday for the next million fucking years and give these poor people food, blankets, jackets, socks, underwear, whatever, do you have an intent? You don't even have to have a plan right now. Is there an intent to move that into, you know, a rehabilitation and reintegration phase? Is that something on your radar, Rebecca?
Yeah, that's something that's future plans for sure. You know, we've got to get through this pandemic first, though.
Well, that's fair. Okay, fuck yeah, bad timing, I know.
Yeah. So as Wade was saying here, the Sands Hotel and one of the other hotels are being converted into affordable housing. That's a step in the right direction. Water Warriors isn't just going out and doing a street team thing, though. We also advocate for these people.
Okay.
So Claire and myself are constantly in meetings with the chief of police and the city of Edmonton. We have a meeting with the mayor this Friday concerning extreme weather plans for the folks to make sure that, you know, they're not throwing them out into the cold from the LRT. Different things like that. So, you know, it's it's a whole pile of work, but eventually we want to get to the point where we're not just a band-aid anymore. You know, we're actually able to help these folks make progress. And when they're ready, because you have to be ready. You can't just force somebody, you can't just pick them up and put them in a house and expect them to be successful, exactly. You know, they need to want to be ready. There's so many problems with addictions, you know, and again, you need to be ready.
And that's a hidden band-aid for what's going on with mental health, which is a whole other epidemic at that point. And so how long do you have to support these people for more than 3 months? I mean, look how long it takes a military person when they get out of the military. It takes anywhere from 18 months to 10 years or more. I know there's many people that have been out for a lot longer who are just now sorting out what's going on with benefits and so forth because they didn't know about it. And so these unhoused, they get 3 months of a Band-Aid. Hopefully in the future it brings Rebecca and all of the Water Warriors the not-for-profit status that they're applying for. That's the big one, which then leads to that charity status. And then that just means grants and income that can actually lead to a proper barrier-free shelter. And then that shelter just becomes one on the north side, one on the south side, one in Sherwood Park. And then it just becomes funded right through into the government once they can actually see what's going on. But it takes the legwork that Rebecca and Claire and many others are doing in the background.
100%. So I'm going to, I just got a couple comments of my own. So everything you guys have said, I fucking love it. And here's why I want to amplify it. Because there's probably a lot of people going, Chris, I thought your show was about the military and military shit. Well, it fucking is. If you don't think this isn't, something's wrong with you, because I did not go overseas. Morgan, who's going to go next, because he's always get the last words because he's so eloquent with them, did not go overseas. Bryce did not go overseas to have the shit that's happening in this country happening. We go over there and we fight and fucking on shitty occasions die for the freedoms and rights that every Canadian is entitled to, despite fucking whether the government succeeds or fails. So when shit like this is happening in my backyard, I'm like, what the fuck, man? This is bullshit. These people should be taken care of. As much as I advocate veterans' rights and the protection of veterans, there's ordinary people out there that these people we're all lumped into one pile, managed by governments that are either successful or failed. So that's why. So if you think that I'm a little bit to the left, fuck you. This is important shit, and that's why fuck footballs.
You're definitely not a left, that's for sure.
No, I'm fucking not. But these are issues near and dear to my heart. They always have been, always will be. And fucking let's let the man say a couple words here before we get into the questions that I know Rebecca's dying to ask.
Oh my! You're gonna ask me questions about the government? Oh my god! It's the only
you're on the spot, man. You got the Unabomber look going on. Come on.
It is, man. It's the government's the only organization that will continue to grow, continue to get more money. Despite
He's
how much
broadcasting from his shitter.
if the government was a privately owned business, it'd be fucking out of business. Like it's
Exactly.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And like you said, if like this country, if our flag, if the army was of religion, I'm the true believer. And so I look at, our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and currently with everything that's going on with lockdowns and all kinds of other bullshit, it's being absolutely trampled on, and it's disgusting. So, and these goddamn politicians, they don't realize that they were elected. They work for me. I don't work for them, goddammit. I don't know. Like, one of these days, somebody's going to have to tell them what time it is, because I don't know, the direction that things are going. It's not good. And I guess I'll end with fucking Sic Semper Tyrannis.
And there you go. No, it's not perfect. It's going to take a long time. And that sounds like a politician just said that shit. Can it be fixed? Absolutely. You just got to put some energy into it.
Energy, just like the people of Kazakhstan.
Oof.
Ooh, wow.
The government has fled the country. The police are arresting politicians. The army is being led around and escorting those politicians who have been proven to be guilty.
We're going to talk about some neat ideas in Ukraine here. But before we do that, first of all, I want to thank Rebecca for coming on. I want to do this again. I want to follow up. This is not a one and out. I want to know how you progress. Absolutely. And I probably want you to become part of that doc. But right now, what I want to do is give you a brief opportunity for a segment we call Ask an Army Guy.
Awesome.
Now, you can ask Rebecca up to 3 questions, or as many or as few as you want, to one or all 3 of us. Any fucking topic, anything you want. I promise you, we will not hold back.
I might hold back a little bit.
Nothing naughty, and I don't have a lot of time, unfortunately. So I'm going to ask one question to all 3 of you.
Okay.
And because I have a foodie background, and I've experienced mess halls personally.
Oh boy.
You always have the hacks, right? There's always something you can do to make that stuff that they serve you palatable. So I want to know what your best mess hall food hack was.
I'll bet you we all have the same answer.
Tabasco sauce.
Tabasco sauce.
Tabasco sauce.
Yeah, or anything of a hot sauce nature. Yeah. Stop. Full stop right there. Yeah.
That's the answer.
We slam the hot sauce on everything that tastes like shit, whether it's from a field kitchen, an IMP, or in a mess hall.
Yeah, and follow it up with a cigarette of hate. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And go outside and have a dart.
Yeah.
Rebecca, thank you for your time tonight. I hope we can do this again. And I hope we got at least, I know we didn't cover everything. There was no way we were gonna. We will do it again. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Rebecca Reid, who's putting her fucking personal time and energy in to build something that no one else is doing, especially during a pandemic. Rebecca, just tell everybody out here how they can get a hold of you.
We are on Facebook, Water Warriors YEG. Our website is www.waterwarriorsyeg.com. We're on the Twitter. We are on the Instagram. We're anywhere social media, basically. Just look us up. We would love to help you or get you to come and volunteer your time if that's something that's up your alley. You can contact us through any of those social media channels there. If you got a few bucks lying around, waterwarriors.yeg@gmail.com is our e-transfer, and we will put that money to damn good use, getting that stuff right into people's hands that need it the most.
And I will endeavor to take all of those links and repost them in the comments below, or the fuck they show up on all the media platforms. Rebecca, I know you have to go. Thank you for your time tonight. I'm rarely speechless, but tonight I am. So thank you very much. And I'm going to cut you loose, and we will do this again.
Awesome. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. All right. Cheers. Fucking wow. She's a gem.
Yeah.
Like, Bryce, like, when did you meet her?
Previous to the Water Warriors, actually, she came out to one of my cruise nights at the Herb Clinic in St. Albert when I was partnered with them. She came out a couple times with her little puppy, and came out in her vehicle just to enjoy the cruise nights and raise money for the charities that we were doing then. And then it led into the relationship of joining them on the streets. They not only do they do a Thursday street team where they start in behind the Bissell Center, like Rebecca was saying, at about 6 p.m. on Thursday nights, but they also have a Sunday River Valley walk, an LRT walk where they go and clean up harm reduction, and then they also have prep days. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays are sandwich teams, and they also prepare all of the snacks and everything that goes into the Thursday and the Sunday teams. And then Tuesdays, they also have a clothing sorting team. That thus the reason why we need space is we've got always donations of clothing. The leftover stuff that the Veterans Association passes off to me. I've always got a couple of tri-walls of stuff that I'm sorting on Tuesdays just to bring out for Thursday nights. And it's a reoccurring door until we have our own space. And that warehouse space will just be the same thing, though. It'll be that same routine. 7 days a week, there's always something going on.
Do you think there's like, because what they're doing is new? That's great. They branded themselves, and you guys are all getting together on Thursdays and doing your shit, but is there any synergies with existing fucking organizations that are doing this stuff, or what?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. There's other organizations that have existed before us. The Bear Clan is local in Edmonton as well as Calgary, and they're Indigenous founded and led, and they've been doing it for years as well too. I would imagine there's other organizations that are church-based that we always run into that have tables set up.
Don't care. Don't bring the word fucking church onto this pod ever.
Yeah. Well, that's where it all started, right? That's where the money came from at the end of it. But
that's where it starts, and it always ends up with some kid getting banged in the ass. So we can move on. There, I said it. It's going on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube.
Well, that's something else that we should be talking about 100% is the human trafficking problem that we have in this world.
If anybody fucking watching this wants to know what I think about fucking organized religion, I'm here to tell you. Anyway, I digress. I know there are, for everybody watching going, what the fuck's all this about? First of all, it's good shit. Good for you to know. If you're out there putting your fucking life on the line as a Canadian member of the Canadian Armed Forces or any allied country, United States is going through the same problem, the UK, all over Europe. It's the same fucking shit. While you're over there doing this, your fucking government's failing to take care of its people back home. And you could be one of those people, which is, again, as I said earlier in the show, this is a fucking segue for me to tackle a homeless veteran problem, and which in Canada is between 2,500 and fucking 5,000 guys, depending on the research I'm doing is giving me, because of course, fuck man, you go to the Canadian government who we pay taxes to every year, and their fucking stats are like 5 years old. So, Brock's on me here. Brock, when are you coming on the fucking show? You got a story. You're up next,
He's always got a
motherfucker.
story to tell.
No. He's got the story, and not on this one. He's coming on my fucking recorded one.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah.
Anyways, while you're over there getting it on, they're not taking care of business back here. That's a fucking problem for me. That's why we're doing these stories.
Hey, Chris, it's probably because guys like us and guys like Brock are just asking for more than the government's
Just more than they can give. Boom!
Yeah, that's a giant segue into who the hell Brock Blazchuk is. Yeah, you don't know who he is. Just Google search Justin.
I'll tell you what, man.
Foot in his mouth.
I hope Brock fucking lives a long life, but on his headstone, I wanted to say, well, they asked for more than I could give.
Oh God, eh?
When he's 107 years old, Brock, when you're 107 fucking years old, get that shit chiseled on your fucking space age fucking headstone. Yeah. Anyways, we've covered that. Yes, we're gonna do a doc on homeless veterans. Yes, I'm gonna focus on Homes for Heroes. I haven't reached out to them, but I will. Yes, all two of you assholes are gonna be involved in this. You're gonna be the voice, Bryce.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Before we fuck off here,
does the Legion help with veterans? From the question comment, Danielle.
Let's. Well, oh my God, Danielle. I'm gonna listen.
We don't.
I'm gonna go for a fucking piss. I'm gonna leave these assholes to cover that.
Oh yeah, but as long as you can prove to them your financial situation, make sure that you're in good financial standings. Yes, they have amazing. There's some places that have amazing service officers, and they'll cover a couple bucks here and there for groceries and stuff. But it's usually a administration hassle. Any experience I've ever had, I've been pretty fucked off pretty quick. Anytime that I was asking at the Legion thing, even to the point where my membership was denied in Winnipeg when I was still serving.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place. I mean, I'm not even gonna. I'm not even gonna say any more than you already said, Bryce. Because
it's a proven it's a proven franchise or whatever you want to call it that is very much on the demise. There's a lot of veterans that are saying we might as well jump in and save the organization from the inside. And then there's a giant echo on the outside of that saying, why not just let it crumble and reinvent it from the ashes? Because yes, it's got a giant voice, and yes, they advocate for us from a giant baseball bat standpoint when they can go to the government. However, on many levels, there are so many legions that are being run by a civilian or a civilian drinking club is what it usually turns into. And most of them can't afford rent anymore. And I'm not ballparking all of them. You can see how statistically there are several, even in Alberta, that have had to either close their doors or relocate due to financial restraint. So, well, yeah, you can see in the comment, Danielle, exactly. You can definitely see that they haven't changed anything, though. The Legion hasn't changed in 100 years. It's still meat draws. You still go out. You know what? I'm gonna put that out. I'm gonna put one out there, though. There was one Legion, and that's the one in Wainwright that was actually very progressive back in the day, and they invited me out to do some cannabis education. They invited out their entire membership, and they filled that entire hall in Wainwright. And there wasn't somebody that was younger than 65 in that room either. Yeah. It was absolutely amazing.
They probably heard there was a fucking meat draw.
Well, there was a meat draw right before, but it was packed the whole time. The whole time I spoke, we even brought in a band for the after effect to get them up and dancing afterwards. Once the band set up, they were all gone. They wanted
covering that Brock.
Yeah.
So did you? I just rocked an Austin Powers long piss. So did Danielle? Are you satisfied with the long-winded answer that Bryce is so capable of spitting out?
Yeah, I could have done it faster. Bryce is like, the Legion sucks. Next.
Yeah. Sum up. Yeah.
No, my man fucking Morgan is a little more direct than I am. From
Yeah.
the Legion sucks, but it can be better.
Yeah, it can be better.
Yeah.
I'll agree.
Except
There's a lot of services that are available that
listen,
are
it's
topic
about
of
30 years past fucking getting better, so I'll leave it at that. So Brock just talking about Russia.
yes. Absolutely.
So this is well, hang on, fuck me. I've been drinking all day. I'm COVID negative. Give me a break. It's reason for celebration. So this was interesting.
There you go.
Canada making plans to build an ammo factory in Ukraine amid the tensions with Russia. And there's Morgan, you might recognize a couple of these cats. They're doing sniper shit.
Yeah. Snipers are cool people. What can I say?
So now
they make movies about us, right?
I make these fucking guys. I make these guys work for this non-paid job that I've given them. Did you read the article I sent you?
Yeah.
So,
Dissected it. It's disgusting.
oh my God. It just reeked of fucking contracts and padding.
Someone in government who owns the Corporation of Canada, it's a shell corporation, one of the three that own this.
Yes, sir.
Is
probably from Quebec.
I would probably think that it's either the Minister of Finance who keeps forgetting to record all of his, or it's the Prime Minister himself who sees that there's going to be a conflict in the Ukraine and he needs that fucking ammo dump irregardless. So he's going to own it. So that way, when he retires, his trust fund is 10 times what it is already.
100% As soon as Andrew Leslie's name came up, I went, "Oh wow, this is the guy who." And I worked for this guy directly. He was my CO, and I'm not shitting on him. He was an exceptional leader, except he traded his real last name for money. And had a $72,000 fucking cost move expense, final move as his retirement. So for those of you that are not in the fucking military, when you retire from the CF, you get a final cost move. When the military moves you around, they pay your expenses. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know fucking anybody in my rank or lower who ever claimed $72,000 that moved in the same fucking city. Morgan, you just moved from Gagetown last summer back to Edmonton. What'd you get out of it?
I think my move like the cost analysis that they broke it down, like it was under 30 grand. And I moved like myself, wife, 2 kids from New Brunswick to Edmonton. So
you have to remember
hang on. Let's do the math on that. So Morgan Warren, a warrant officer in the Canadian Armed Forces, moved from basically Fredericton, right? Like Gagetown, New Brunswick, to Edmonton, Alberta, which, unless you're geographically challenged, it's a fucking long way.
Yeah.
And it was under 30 grand. But a lieutenant general who retired and became a Liberal MP under a Conservative government, so he got a bit of scrutiny on that. His $72,000 cost move was under scrutiny. But anyway, that's not the point. Here's the point. So he leaves the military because he's upset because he's not going to be the fucking CDS, whatever. I don't give 2 shits. He had his highs, he had his lows. And I've had my run-ins with him, good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah, he kind of sucks.
To be honest, all in all, a fucking solid guy. To sum it up, I'm just shitting on him because he's an officer. But to be honest, he was a fucking stronger leader than others. But here's the thing. He's working for some bullshit ammunition company, GL Ammunition, whatever, out of Ontario, who doesn't even exist anymore. So to Bryce's point, this whatever the fuck this government organization is that I've never heard of, it's not Public Works, who I've dealt with, who tenders these contracts, goes down this rabbit hole with this company in Ontario that doesn't even exist anymore, but resurfaces under a different name with the same letters. It's like, what the fuck is this? It just smells like bullshit. So
It's totally above board. You're looking into this way too much. I guarantee you, the government would never do anything wrong. They're good people. They're good.
Okay,
people.
let's get fucking dumb army guy level.
Yes.
Canada builds an ammo factory in the Ukraine, and let's say, for argument's sake, that the 100,000 fucking Russians that are on the border that got it on are ready to go.
Yeah.
Do your home. Rewind your brain.
So we're building a sweet ammo factory for the Russians. Cool.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's exactly what we're doing.
What's the first thing that the Russians are going to bomb?
Don't build it. Don't build it, please. Don't build
What's the first thing the Russians are going to bomb?
The ammo dumps, but it's going to
The
be
ammo
insured.
dump,
It's
yeah.
okay, because at the end of the day, the only people that are going to be profiting from this are the corporations that own it. And if we follow the money, we always follow where the fucking
all
shit
the
is.
money. Are you
Yeah.
fucking telling me that the country of the Ukraine cannot access former Soviet bloc ammunition from anybody but us building an ammo factory there? Are you
Well,
fucking
their
kidding
presence
me?
at NATO is being questioned. However, when brought up and Russia was straight up asked, "Are you going to attack them at the NATO floor?" The representative for Russia just flat out said, "No, not a chance. We would never do that."
Why would we do
However,
that?
you know that though. We can make whatever. We can shit all over the Russians all we want, and I would not want to live in Russia. But you got to admire these Russians. You got to admire Vladimir Putin. You know why? Because you know one thing. Vladimir Putin's a lot of things, but you know what he's not? He's not a fucking pussy.
Well,
And God love him for that.
at the same time, the person that's taken over our country was voted back in. And,
Ryan, you are correct.
Right?
Listen, this is a fucking joke. Like, okay, I know for a fact, if you served in the Balkans in the 90s, raise your fucking hand. Or were you in Bosnia, Croatia, whatever. Here's the thing. I know for a fucking fact that all parties on all sides during that war exported ammunition to fund the fucking war. That means they had more ammo than they needed to fight the war, so they sold it to make money. The fucking Ukraine does not need Canada to build a bullshit ammo factory, which is just some contract gig to pat the pockets of probably Quebec-based company will get the contract. Let's be honest.
Definitely Quebec.
It's a Quebec and an Ontario representative.
100%. Ontario, Quebec. It's a fucking atrocity to even think that this is valid. And how do you pronounce David Polgee's last name? Is it Polgees? Polgees? He's the military fucking reporter guy for the Ottawa Citizen. Anyway, solid dude, man. He's been reporting on military shit for fucking years. I want to get him on the pod to speak to this because he's the first guy to write this story. And I'm just reading this going, because I read my news on the shitter like everybody else.
Yeah.
Click on the news icon, and I'm going, what the fuck is this, man? This is bullshit. Canada building a fucking ammunition factory in the Ukraine is the most preposterous, ridiculous, stupid ass fucking shit I've ever heard. Like we're going to provide 7.62 by 39 that they can't get from any other Eastern Bloc country is fucking ridiculous.
Right?
Well, come on, man.
Well, there just happens to, like Sean Ellis is mentioning in the conversation chat there, it's going to be SNC Lavalin.
Oh, exactly, Sean.
We're going to have SNC ammo. Yeah, exactly.
SNC
they
ammo.
split apart.
Come on. 100%. That contract gets that because Andrew Leslie, who's a liberal guy now, came out and said, "Oh, GL bullets is no longer in existence." And read the article. Yeah. Fucking SNC's gonna get it, and they're gonna bang out ammo that the Ukraine could get widely available from any fucking Eastern Bloc country.
Yeah.
And what we're helping. Give me a fucking break. It's fucking bullshit.
Smell the money.
Follow the fucking money.
Oh, you can. They're doing blatantly. They're
Oh,
throwing
no.
press conferences now and letting everybody know, and they're doing it with an open door policy.
I know,
They're
man.
allowing us to see how much they're actually corrupt. This is exactly what happened before Iraq.
Do you know why?
Afghanistan.
Because they're fucking hiding behind the fact that the whole world is tunnel vision on COVID numbers in Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta. So we'll just slide this bitch under the rug. They make here's Canada's contribution to the Russian fucking buildup in the Ukraine, and we'll continue pumping troops in and out on this training op. And that, what is that op fucking resolve or some fucking thing? Morgan, help me out here.
Operation Unifier.
That too. Some fucking thing. We pump by 350 guys, go to the Ukraine every 6 months on a rotation and teach these guys how to shoot guns. And then we're going to build an ammo factory there. Fuck you. That's all about fucking the government, like the Trudeau government handing out contracts to its buddies. It's all about contracts and it's all about fucking money. Building an ammo fucking factory in the Ukraine is the dumbest tactical decision any commander would ever fucking admit. If the Russians invade the Ukraine and they go all in, they will bomb any tactical or strategic target, which starts with, I don't know, infrastructure and ammo.
And ammo dumps, yeah. Because you want to stop guys like fucking this guy above me from shooting anybody.
Like, anyways, I digress. Fuck, what else we got to talk about? Are we a wrap here, boys, or what, Matt? What are the viewers saying?
I don't know.
Morgan,
I want to address a few points there. We got
address a few points so I can take my blind ass and read the fucking comments.
Because they're, what are they? I don't know. They're jealous pretty much because they're not snipers, which is, I get it all the time. I'm used to it, fellas. So I mean, I get it. You know, you want to be snipers. Like I said, they make movies about us. I mean, I didn't see, fucking what did the armored guys? What do they got? They got what was that stupid ass movie? Fury. Who was the coolest guy in Fury? It was the crouch sniper at the end.
No, it was fucking Brad Pitt.
Nah, it wasn't. It was the crouch. It was the crouch sniper at the end. Even in stupid the Hurt Locker, the coolest part was when he took the sniper rifle and he shot the bomb. I mean, come on. I don't see Brad. I didn't see American Pathfinder starring Bradley Cooper, or I didn't see Tom Berenger starring Canadian
American
MSC 1 through 7. Like, no, it's snipers. We're cool. We're cool. We know it. I mean, it is what it is, right?
I'm just going to paraphrase what Brock said.
That
50 cal is nothing more than it's like a rig pig's 1 ton that's jacked up with big tires. You got something that you're overcompensating for.
Jealous. It's jealousy. It's just jealousy, fellas. I get it. Don't worry, I'll sign autographs later. You can let your friends know that I hang out with you. Don't worry about it. We're good. That's okay.
I need a selfie the next time I'm at your house, dude.
Hey, you're forgiven. You're forgiven. Don't worry, fellas.
I love that every opportunity we get, we just fucking shit on each other.
I still love you, yeah.
Oh, man. I want to thank everybody for hanging out. Oh, Danielle. Let's see what she has. She's fucking still hanging on. We have one civvy hanging in.
That a girl.
Oh, here we go. They're sending Kanye West to talk to the Russians.
Yes, this is brilliant.
Well, I guess it's better
Danielle,
than the
thank you for bringing.
They sent their president to talk to the Pope in Rome, and he ended up shitting his pants. So
no, this is fucking.
They might as well send Kanye West, the bipolar individual who just going through a rough divorce that's very public. I can only imagine his mental health is anywhere near fucking perfect. But
no, he's
send him to talk to the hostile Russians. That's a genius idea.
This is an absolute attachment. Lachlan Cross brought this up on Dean's show earlier today, but how fucking insane the world we live in is, where Kanye West is going to fucking fly to Russia to talk to fucking Vladimir.
It's not the first time that they've used celebrities, though, dude. Celebrities were spies back in World War II. So maybe we just think that Kanye West and all these others, like Dennis Rodman, that was sent to China for relations, maybe they're just badass
That's a good point.
spies, and their
No,
cover
yeah.
story
No,
is
no.
they're just celebrities back in North America, so they can strut around in front
Hey,
of
listen,
everybody.
Rodman wanted to go to fucking North Korea to hang out with Kim Jong-un.
But he paved things over. He led to peace talks that Trump was able to finalize.
I know there's video of them playing.
Like maybe we're gonna see something out of Kanye, or as he likes to be
There's
referred now
legit
as
video
Ye.
of them playing NBA Jam 06.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or maybe that's what Russia, at the end of the day, that's all they asked for. Yeah, we'll quiet things down. We'll go back to a Cold War, but you just got to send over Kanye and you got to send over the Spice Girls.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I'm fucking I'm honestly happy. I am not in the military right now, because if you're sitting on the edge of a rucksack with a bayonet in your mouth, waiting to know where you're gonna go, and it was like, well, Kanye West went in first, I'd be like, fuck that. Maybe we shouldn't go.
That's going to be the big adventure. How are you going to follow that?
I don't know. Fuck,
Yeah,
what else
definitely
is
due
on?
for a haircut. How's your hair now that you're are you almost out, or are you still serving? Under that baseball hat.
Still serving. I don't know.
Oh, okay. You still have standards to meet.
Not
I can't wait to see that 2-year point.
That is the fucking standard right now. Look at this guy. Take that hat off again. Show the fucking world.
The grooming standards of the Canadian Forces. That's a badass that's a nice beard though.
I go look at that
all the way down.
Look at this
Oh, yeah.
sideburn. He's like a cat walking through a door. No. Every guy wears a beret these days, needs one 2 fucking sizes bigger than what you would have.
Just because of the
back in the
hairflow.
fucking day when I had.
Yeah. Man, if I would have known that I could have this kind of hair under my beret when I was serving, I was more of a high and tight guy when I was in. I didn't have much. I didn't have much on the top. It was kind of spiked in the front that little bit. But
listen, your fucking hero shot that you sent in for episode 3. You looked like you were 12 years old and getting raped by a Catholic priest. I'm not gonna fucking lie.
What? You know what? I grew up Catholic, so I can make a comment on that piece too. No, it's kind of funny actually. On my social media, I did that 10-year challenge, and I put up a picture. And recently, I connected with a couple of women that I did middle grade school with, and they started posting pictures in the comments, and to see how young and how much I've progressed over the years, it's kind of scary.
I think you look great, and I love how you change your background. You're putting in more of an effort than me and Morgan are.
Whoa.
He's got quite a
no, you're good, Rob.
You redid the whole upstairs, the one corner of your upstairs. This guy's put up more effort into it. I mean, he's got more paraphernalia.
He's the fucking Blue Rocketeer, man.
Yeah. Well, did you see in the comments too? Sean Ellis has another sketch coming. I'm waiting to see that one show up in somebody's background now.
Oh, fuck yeah. So I've got I'm going to be recording episode 4 next week.
Nice. Who are you bringing in as a guest?
There's exclusive content for all you people listening right now. Should I say right now?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Natalie Forcier from Sean knows her. Bryce, you know her.
Yeah.
Well,
I've been talking with her back in Winnipeg as well. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So she's coming on. We're figuring out next week. I'm going to go down to her clinic in Fort Sask and record some B-roll.
Nice.
And I'm going to come to the food bank on probably Tuesday, record some B-roll.
Nice.
And
she's part of the executive there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So she's next. She's up. She's in the breach.
Nice.
It'll be there you go for all you fucking kids.
She's got quite an amazing story herself.
I know, man.
Yeah.
So I talked to her today, and she goes, "Well, what do you want me to say?" I said, "It's not about that. I said it's about what you want to say. So if you want to do this, come on board. If you don't." So for
Yeah.
anybody watching or listening to this, I'm always looking for new people to do either this format, the Wednesday night format, or I'm looking for people to do the long format, the full-on fucking interview. I've done 3. All 3 of those guys are my members. I know JT's busy with life and shit. And yeah, she's up next, man. So it's gonna be fucking. I'm looking forward to it.
Very cool. Yeah, what she's done with when she came on board to the Herb Clinic as I was leaving, and what they've done with that walk-in clinic in Fort Saskatchewan, and where the route that they're going with the plans that they have for the new wellness, the whole wellness package. She brings her medical training into what she does into the present now, and it's quite phenomenal. It's quite phenomenal.
Ryan Perry says he'll do it. Ryan, I don't know who you are. You need to help me out here, buddy.
He currently works at the University of Alberta. He's the guy who I helped with the cannabis study. But as a veteran, I'm pretty sure he was a Patricia.
Ryan, go ahead. Tell us your story, dude.
Yeah. Amazing dude, but he also does soapstone carving right now to keep his hands busy at the same time. So he's got everything from Christmas decoration ornaments to like full. He donated I think it was a polar bear to the Veterans Association food bank.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
that's Brian's.
Okay.
That he did that by hand out of a chunk of rock, man.
That was fucking pretty dope, man. It was.
Yeah.
Ryan, you want to come on the show, man? Get at me. I'll take anybody.
I'll send him your information, dude.
Bryce wants to turn this whole show into a dope smoking fucking healing thing, and me and Morgan want to talk about fucking killing bad guys.
Yeah.
I'll convert the motherfuckers.
Extreme prejudice. Yeah,
we're gonna find some balance. But I was like, hey, Morgan, go find some guys, man. I mean,
I'll see what I can do.
Actually, I talked to Natalie about Jody Mitnick coming on the show. I know he's a controversial dude in the fucking in the sniper community and in the CF.
Maybe in the CF, in the sniper community, not really. He's not. He's Jody. He's got his opinions. He's a good dude.
He's Jody, but if I get him on the fucking show, I'll take him.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. He's got a super interesting story. You know,
I know he does. I read his fucking book. It took me 6 months because I can only read like a paragraph at a time and I fall asleep. But I want to get him on. So yeah, as much as in all seriousness, I do like what we've been doing lately. Is a lot of been about fucking veterans healing and social problems, but it's a little left. I want to bring it to center, not right. This is also about fucking stories.
I want to bring it to the right.
Morgan does, and I do too. It's and I'm good with what we've been doing, but I fucking do want to bring it to center. Can we meet in the middle?
Yeah. We'll see if we can get
I'm not asking you, I'm fucking telling you we're going to meet in the middle.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, there's no reason why. I've always been straight up center. I've never picked sides, regardless.
I do. I'm a hardline right winger.
Fucking hardline right winger,
man.
And that's cool, man.
With everybody, I'll hang out with Big Matt all the way to Rebecca. So it's one of those where. I don't care who in the hell you are, as long as you're a good fucking person and you treat me right. I'll keep you.
And don't get me wrong, the social conversations we've been having directly are related. Like I said earlier, it would be a fucking when you go overseas, and this is an important piece. I'm gonna probably close it out with this because we've been on for a long time, and I'll go all fucking out. I don't care. You go overseas and you see other countries and the shit state they're in. You say, I live in the best country in the world, right?
Second best, yeah. Not well.
Second best. Look at this fucking Texan over here.
Texas.
Fucking hey, y'all.
Hey, trust me.
Hey, silver medal's okay, boys.
I've been to a lot of fucking countries, and every time I come home, I feel good about it. But then when I see shitty things happening, and this is where I go to the left where we've been dog paddling for a little while or swimming in, whatever you will. I like to tell those stories. I do, because they do relate to us. I didn't fucking go over there to come back to a fucked up country, right?
Well,
We go over there to defend equality.
You did, though.
Good life for everybody. So that's okay. That being said, I like the fucking war stories, and we are gonna go back to those stories.
Absolutely.
I want balance. I want the show to be about balance. I want it to be about it's about people being able to tell the story they want to tell in their own words, unbiased and unedited. Those are the three things I promised at the beginning, and we will maintain that course. Will it go left? Yes. Will it go right? Yes. But we're fucking going to stay there. 100% we're going to stay there. So, all right.
Final
Last
thoughts on
fucking
Ukraine and
round,
Russia?
boy. Wait, we got more people.
Hey, Jason Vinegar. I still owe you that visit, dude. I'm sorry I missed you the last time.
Okay, we're going to close out with some comments. Ryan's in. Okay. All right. Fuck, I got to piss again, and it's been a good one and a long one. I want to thank everybody who's hung in this long tonight. I want to thank Rebecca for coming on and telling us all about Water Warriors, and I want to thank my homies. I'm COVID free. You can come get your gear now.
Yeah,
Come get your shit, and we will reconvene this shit next week. So that's fucking that, gents. Let's wrap this bitch up. Have a good one, and everybody, thank you for coming out. How do I turn on my and we're out of here?
Airborne, right on.
Apparently, we're still here, and I fucked it all up. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Not doing well. All right, bye.